Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. I was halfway through cutting my steak when I realized I was the only one at the table without a gift bag in front of me. Jake had a Cartier watch still in the box. His wife was gushing over some Louis Vuitton tote. Annie clapped like a seal opening an envelope. Oh my god, Maui? Seriously? My mom reached over and touched her hand like this was the most wholesome moment on earth. I just sat there. My name's Lauren. I'm 36 and I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a financial planner. I make good money. I don't dress flashy. I don't make scenes. But I'm not a ghost either. At least I didn't think I was. Quick note before we go further, tell us, where are you watching from today? It was my dad's birthday dinner. Our childhood home hadn't changed much. Same oak table, same ugly chandelier, same tight smiles. Everyone was there. Jake, with his fake perfect smile and tailored blazer. Annie sipping wine and laughing like she lived on a stage. And our parents, dad sitting at the head of the table like a king, mom doting on whoever talked loudest. I kept waiting for my turn. Not because I wanted anything, but just, I don't know. A thanks for coming. A card. A mention. Instead, I got this. Dad leaned back in his chair, belly full, bourbon in hand. He glanced my way like he just noticed a ghost. Then he let out this booming laugh and said, "Oh, we almost forgot you were here." The room broke into laughter like he'd just told the best damn joke of the night. Even Jake chuckled. Annie covered her mouth like it was cute. Mom shook her head like, "Oh, Dad." But she didn't say a word in my direction. I smiled. Tight, fake, rehearsed. Same one I'd used since I was 13. I didn't say anything for a second. Just looked around the table, let the silence settle over me like a wet coat. Then I said, real calm, real dry. "That's okay. I forgot about the $500,000 business loan too." Forks froze midair. Jake's head snapped up. Annie blinked like she didn't understand English. My dad's laugh cut off so fast, it was like someone had slapped him. Nobody said a word. Good. Let them sit in it. I picked up my wine, took a sip, and leaned back in my chair. The silence stayed. No one apologized. No one even looked at me. Typical. So I finished my meal, still smiling, already planning my exit. I left that dinner and drove straight home. Didn't even say goodbye. I tossed my heels on the floor, peeled off my blazer, and poured a drink. My phone buzzed right as I sat down. Dad. 5 years earlier, same number, different kind of call. It was a Wednesday, late afternoon. I remember because I'd just finished a client call and was about to hit the gym. "Lauren," he said, voice tight, too formal. "You got a second?" That tone, that was his bad news tone. I pulled my ponytail loose and sat down. "What's going on?" He sighed, long and heavy. "We've got a problem. It's Jake's company. Some expansion deals didn't go the way we planned." I didn't say anything. He kept going. "We had to move some money around. Took out a loan under the business. It snowballed. Now we're staring down bankruptcy if we don't cover $500,000 by end of quarter." I blinked. "$500,000? Are you serious?" "I wouldn't be calling you if I wasn't." "Why the hell didn't you call me sooner?" "We thought we could handle it." "We, not Jake. Not the idiot who made the deals. We." Before we go deeper, drop a quick comment and let me know where you're watching from today. "Jake made a mess," I said. "And you tied it to the family business?" "He's still your brother?" That's not an answer. He didn't fight me, didn't push back, just said, "We need help." I don't know where else to turn. I could have said no, should have, maybe, but I didn't. I'd built up savings. I'd secured a few solid accounts that year. I could manage it, barely. And if I moved fast, I could sign on a new partner to replace the cash drain. "I'll take care of it," I said. Dad went quiet. Then, "Thank you. We won't forget this." I didn't ask for a contract, no paperwork. Just wired the money and got to work fixing the damage. I called a few contacts, set up a meeting with a logistics firm I knew was looking to expand in the Southeast, pitched them the business as a regional partner. By the end of the month, the business had a new deal signed and fresh revenue on the books. And me? I went back to my job like nothing happened. Dad called once after that to say thanks. Mom sent a card that said, "You're a lifesaver," in glittery script, like it was a birthday party. Then it went quiet. A few months later, I found out Jake was leading strategy meetings. Annie was helping with marketing. I wasn't even looped in. The business I'd saved was moving forward. and I was a ghost again. When I asked Dad about it, he said, "You're so busy with your own clients, we didn't want to bother you." They bothered me just fine when they needed $500,000. What came next was worse. I wasn't just excluded, I was used. I'd get emails from the accountant. "Can you check this balance sheet?" Text from Mom. "Can you look at our taxes?" Jake once called me to ask if he should buy a second warehouse. I was good enough to fix things, to clean up messes, but never good enough to sit at the table. That's when it really hit me. My quiet, get it done nature? They didn't respect it. They used it. And they thought I'd never push back. Not yet. But that was starting to change. I didn't push back right away. I still showed up when they called. I still fixed the numbers when the books didn't balance, still emailed the bank to smooth out cash flow, still filed the taxes on time because no one else could do it without screwing something up. But that year, that was the last time I let them pretend I didn't exist and still show up like clockwork. Jake hosted a 4th of July party that summer. Big backyard spread, catered barbecue, all the flash. I saw the photos later on Annie's Instagram. She and Jake laughing with sparklers, Mom holding a tray of drinks, Dad behind the grill like he was hosting the damn Super Bowl. I wasn't invited, didn't even get a text. But 2 days later, Dad called because the company credit line renewal needed my signature. I signed it, quietly, professionally, no complaints. Then I turned off my phone and started counting the hours I wasted on them. While you're listening, before we go further, tell me where you're tuning in from today. Every week, I got more bitter. Jake was still playing CEO like he built the business from the ground up. Annie? She was the sparkle, always planning events, taking meetings, getting applause for simply existing. Me? I was the human calculator in the background. If bills got paid, it was just assumed I did it. If we got through tax season without penalties, no one even blinked. But God forbid I missed one thing. I'd get a call within the hour. Mom once left me a voicemail. "Hey, sweetie, I know it's tax time and you're busy, but can you help me figure out the deductions from my home office?" She didn't even say hi first. It wasn't just the family, the world did the same thing. I was good at what I did. No, great. But clients only remembered my name when their investments jumped. No one cared how many nights I worked late to keep things from falling apart. Success looked like someone else's face, usually a louder one. That's when it started. The shift? I stopped feeling angry. Anger needed energy. I felt done. I didn't show up to Annie's birthday brunch that October. No one asked why. Thanksgiving? I stayed home and ordered sushi. Got one Happy Thanksgiving Thighs group text with a turkey emoji, nothing else. Christmas came. I sent a check to cover the holiday bonuses for the warehouse staff. Dad had forgotten them. Then I blocked out the family thread for the entire week. No one noticed, and honestly, that was the clearest answer I'd ever gotten. So I got to work. For me this time. I started pouring my time into my own clients, took on new contracts, rebuilt my website, hired an assistant, bought into a short-term rental deal in Charleston, and flipped the property inside 4 months. Started getting some serious traction on a podcast I launched about women in finance. No fluff, no sugarcoating. I stopped giving away pieces of myself for free. My emotional bandwidth shrunk to 0. They asked for help. I responded with a line item estimate and turnaround time. No more casual favors. No more. Sure, I'll take a quick look. The more I pulled back, the more I saw it for what it was. They didn't care if I was happy. They just cared if I was useful. So I made myself useful. To me, they never questioned it. Never asked why I stopped showing up to birthdays or Sunday dinners or family Zooms. Never said, "Hey, you okay?" Probably didn't even notice I was gone. And for the first time, I didn't care. I was busy building something they couldn't touch. Not because I hated them. Not because I needed revenge. Because I was finally done being the silent safety net. From here on out, I'd build high enough they'd have to look up to see me. I was coming out of a meeting when the voicemail hit. "Lauren, it's your father. We need your help. The business, things are messy, real messy. I could use your eyes on the books." I didn't listen to it twice. Didn't need to. Same tone he used 5 years ago. Different mess, same panic. I let it sit for a day, then I got in my car and drove to the office. They'd never updated the damn place. Same cracked linoleum floors, same dusty plant in the corner that had probably been fake since '98. The sign out front still had Jake's name on it, Vice President of Operations, as if he hadn't been operating off ego and guesswork for years. Dad was waiting by the front desk when I walked in. He looked older, like the years finally caught up to him. Eyes a little dimmer, posture slouched. He didn't smile. "Thanks for coming," he said. "Didn't say I was helping yet," I replied. He nodded, didn't argue, led me down the hall without another word. The conference room smelled like burnt coffee and old carpet. He dropped a stack of manila folders on the table, thick with receipts, bank statements, vendor letters, and past due invoices. "This is everything," he said. "At least, I think it is." I sat down, flipped the first folder open, and started reading. While you're listening, drop a comment and let me know which city or country you're watching from. It was worse than I expected. Credit lines maxed. Suppliers pulling out. Payroll barely met the last 2 cycles. Some kind of shady deferred payment plan Jake had signed off on that made zero financial sense. They were 3 months from collapse. 2, maybe. Dad stood awkwardly near the window while I worked. He cleared his throat a couple times like he wanted to say something but never did. I looked up after 20 minutes. "You knew this was coming." He didn't deny it. "Yeah, I just hoped it'd fix itself or Jake would figure it out." I closed the folder. He didn't. Silence. Then I said, "I can fix this." Again. But this time, I'm not doing it for free. And I'm not doing it from the sidelines. He straightened a little. "What do you mean?" "I mean, if I step in, I take control. Full financial oversight. You keep your office, Jake keeps his title, I don't care. But I run the show. All decisions, all final calls come through me." He exhaled through his nose. "You want to be CEO. I am CEO. I've just been acting like a ghost. That's done." He didn't argue right away. Just rubbed the back of his neck, stared at the folders like maybe the numbers would rewrite themselves. Finally, he said, "Jake won't like it." "Then Jake can leave." Dad flinched a little, but I didn't take it back. "You asked for help. This is the only way I give it," I said. He looked up at me, eyes tired, pride cracked, and nodded once. "All right, it's yours." I stood. "Good. I'll be back tomorrow with my laptop and a plan." I walked out of that stale office without another word, keys already in hand. This time, they weren't going to forget who saved them, because I wouldn't let them. The next morning, I walked into the office with my laptop under one arm and a non-negotiable attitude under the other. Jake was already there, slouched in his chair like a frat boy who'd accidentally inherited a desk job. He didn't even look up. "Wow," he said, flipping a pen between his fingers. "Didn't realize we were rebranding the company as Lauren Inc.?" I didn't respond. Just plugged in, opened my spreadsheet, and started digging. While you're here, take a second. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. The first week was triage. I restructured our accounts, consolidated debt, and froze non-essential spending. Cut unnecessary vendors, renegotiated contracts, and called in every favor I was owed from my own network. By week 3, I had a bridge investor signed. Just enough capital to stabilize cash flow and give us breathing room. Nobody thanked me. Jake sulked in every meeting, spoke in half sentences. Every time I assigned him something, he found a way to delay it or twist it. "Didn't know you wanted that today," or "thought we were going a different direction." One morning, I told him we were cutting a product line that had been bleeding money for 6 quarters straight. He leaned back, arms crossed. "Seems a little reckless, don't you think?" he said loud enough for the team to hear. I met his stare. "You'd know reckless, Jake. You wrote the original expansion plan." He shut up after that, at least for the rest of the meeting. Annie showed up less and less. She used to breeze in with iced coffee and sit through meetings, scrolling on her phone, pretending to care. Now, she barely made eye contact. When I told her I was shifting the marketing budget and cutting influencer partnerships that weren't bringing ROI, she looked at me like I'd shot her dog. "I worked really hard building those relationships," she said. I didn't flinch. "You're not the only one working hard." She blinked fast, then walked out like I'd just insulted her existence. Even Dad got his digs in. "You're really tightening the reins, huh?" he said once. After I cut a bonus he'd quietly given himself without board approval. "We're not a hobby shop," I said. "If we want to survive, we act like it." He nodded, but I saw the flicker of irritation in his jaw. They were used to me showing up with money and then disappearing. Used to me fixing the mess, smiling politely, and stepping aside so they could pat each other on the back. Not anymore. I showed up every day, ran the books, led the meetings, and pushed the business toward profitability with the kind of focus they never had the patience for. I wasn't rude, I wasn't cruel, but I was clear. Deadlines were deadlines. Slackers got benched, drama got ignored. Jake started trying to go around me. emailing dad about decisions, trying to stir up side conversations during lunch breaks. I shut that down quick. If you want to lead this business, you'll need to buy it from me, I told him in front of dad. He didn't respond, just gave me that smirking look, like he was still trying to figure out who I'd become. But I hadn't become anything. I'd just stopped hiding. I didn't want a crown. I didn't care about titles. I just wanted one damn thing: acknowledgement. Not a pat on the head, not a fake thank you in a Christmas card, real respect. And if I had to take control of everything just to get that, fine, let them choke on it. Dinner was at Jake's place this time. One of those forced, let's be a family things mom tried to pull together every few months. Long table, overpriced wine, fake laughs. The kind of night where everyone plays nice for about 10 minutes before someone takes the gloves off. I was barely 2 bites into my grilled salmon when Jake decided to make his move. So, he said, loud enough to pull all the attention, are we ever going to talk about how reckless some of these changes have been? Fork halfway to my mouth. I set it down. Dad stared at his plate. Annie sipped her wine like it had nothing to do with her. Which changes are reckless exactly? I asked. Jake leaned back, arms crossed, smirking like he was waiting to deliver a punchline. Slashing departments, firing people who've been there 15 years, cutting bonuses, you're bleeding morale. I'm saving a business that was already bleeding out. He shook his head. You act like you're the only one who cares about this company. I'm the only one who saved it. His jaw twitched, but he didn't back off. It's not a dictatorship, Lauren. You're not the only person with a brain. I stayed calm. I always did. You want to talk about brains? Let's go back to when you took out a deferred loan with a 40% rollover clause, or when you approved an expansion without checking inventory ratios. You don't want leadership, you want credit. Jake's face turned red, but I kept going. I cleaned up every mistake you made. I paid off your mess with my own money. You want to call me reckless? At least I showed up when it mattered. Before we go deeper, quick question. What city or country are you watching from today? The silence got heavy, thick enough to choke on. Annie kept her eyes glued to her wine glass. Mom cleared her throat but didn't say a word. And Dad, he just stared straight ahead like the centerpiece had become fascinating. I turned to him. Anything you want to add? He didn't blink. Let's not turn this into something ugly. It's already ugly, I said, because I've spent years doing the work while all of you sat back and clapped for each other. Jake stood. You want a damn medal? I stood too. Number, I want what I've earned. Respect, ownership, a seat that actually counts. He scoffed. You're threatening us now? No, I said. I'm giving you all the choice. I looked at Dad again, locked eyes with him. You either back me completely right now, or I walk. I pull my money, my deals, my name. You can watch the whole thing collapse for real this time. He didn't answer, didn't argue, didn't defend me, just sat there like a coward in a pressed shirt. I nodded once. Got it. I grabbed my bag off the chair, walked out without another word. Annie didn't move, Mom didn't follow. And Jake? He stood there like a guy who thought he'd won something. But he hadn't won. He'd just lost the only person holding the damn walls up. And I'd finally realized I didn't need to hold anything anymore. I didn't wait for a follow-up call after that dinner. Didn't check in, didn't show up Monday morning. Didn't answer when Dad finally texted 2 days later. Let's talk when things cool down. There was nothing left to say. I pulled my funds, transferred the contracts I owned under my LLC, and shut off access to every tool I had set up to keep them afloat. No drama, no warning, just off. And for the first time in years, I slept like a damn rock. While you're here, let me know in the comments. Where are you watching from today? I focused on my own clients again. Took on 2 new real estate partnerships. Closed on a small commercial space outside Asheville, turned it into a co-working hub, and watched the lease revenue triple within 6 months. I bought a sleek loft in downtown Raleigh. Floor-to-ceiling windows, open kitchen, no one else's name on the deed. The place was mine. Everything in it was mine. Not one piece of it built on guilt or obligation. My mornings stopped being filled with calls about payroll or last-minute invoices. No more, can you check this contract real quick? Or, we just need you to sign one more thing. I had silence, I had space, and they had chaos. I didn't need to check in to know. Mutual contacts started dropping hints. You still working with your family's business? One guy asked at a finance mixer. Heard they're behind on a couple contracts. Another friend texted, thought you'd want to know. Looks like your brother's been fighting with vendors again. Word's getting around. It was always the same story: sales dropping, bills stacking up, Jake pretending everything was fine while Annie faded into the background. Dad probably still believed it'd all sort itself out if he just ignored it hard enough. But I didn't care. Not in the bitter, cold way. Not in the screw them kind of way. I just let it go. Their failure wasn't mine to fix anymore. They never wanted me in the spotlight. Fine. They could run the whole show without me. Let Jake be the face. Let Annie be the charm. Let Dad be the legacy. I had something better: freedom. No one could guilt me. No one could manipulate me. I'd spent so long being the fallback, the unthanked extra in their performance, I didn't even realize how much weight I was carrying until I dropped it. I woke up now and made coffee in my quiet, glass-walled kitchen, sent emails to my team, and scheduled meetings for my projects. I worked with people who respected me, clients who didn't just need me, but valued what I brought. I didn't hear much from the family in those months. One group text on Mom's birthday, a forwarded email about a vendor account I no longer managed. I ignored both. Let them figure it out. They hadn't just pushed me aside. They'd done it twice. And they'd do it again if I let them. So I didn't. I felt lighter. It wasn't peace in the cheesy, spiritual way. It was peace in the no one owns me way. No one could hand me scraps and expect me to act grateful anymore. I wasn't invisible. I was just no longer available. That's what real freedom looked like. I walked back into that office like I never left. Same crooked blinds, same stained carpet. But this time, I wasn't carrying a laptop or a lifeline. Jake and Dad were already in the conference room when I walked in. Jake looked like hell, hollow under the eyes, collar wrinkled, confidence cracked wide open. Dad stood when he saw me. Jake didn't. "Thanks for coming," Dad said, voice low. I sat across from them without responding. Let the silence stretch until Jake started fidgeting with his pen like a kid waiting to be scolded. "Before we go further, drop a comment. Where are you watching from?" "We're in trouble," Dad finally said. I raised an eyebrow. Define trouble. "We're behind on payroll. Creditors are circling. 2 clients pulled out last week." "And?" He looked at me like he wanted to say more, but didn't have the words. So Jake jumped in instead. "You made your point. We should have done things different. But the company's going under. We need you back." I looked at both of them, slowly. Let them sit in it. Dad cleared his throat. "We should have respected your role. Your work. We didn't. That was a mistake." "Was?" "Is," he corrected. "I'm saying we need your leadership." I pulled a folder from my bag, laid it flat on the table. "You want me back? Here are my terms." Jake reached for it. I slid it closer to myself. "You don't get to review it. You sign it, or I walk out and you never hear from me again." Jake scoffed. "You're really gonna make us your employees?" I looked him dead in the eye. "Yes." His mouth opened, closed again. Dad didn't flinch. "You'll retain your titles," I said, "but I have 100% operational control. Financial, strategic, legal. I don't answer to you. You answer to me." "And if we say no?" Jake asked. I stood. "Then you lose everything. And this time, I won't even read the obituary." Dad held out his hand. "Let me see it." I slid the folder to him. He flipped through, lips pressed tight. He didn't ask for edits, didn't ask for time. Just reached into his jacket, pulled out a pen, and signed. He passed it to Jake. Jake stared at it like it was poison. I didn't say a word. He signed. When it was done, I tucked the papers into my bag and looked around the room. Same ugly walls. Same broken AC unit humming overhead. But it felt different now, because this time, I wasn't here to save them. I was here to take what I'd built. I walked out of that room with their signatures in my bag and not a damn doubt in my mind. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about family pride. This was mine now, and they finally knew it. I drove straight to my own office after they signed. Didn't stop, didn't look back. Top floor, corner unit, clean lines, steel and glass. Mine. I dropped the folder on my desk, kicked off my shoes, and stood at the window. The skyline buzzed below me. Lights, traffic, movement. All of it still running, with or without their approval. That used to scare me. Now, it grounded me. While you're listening, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments below. The family business didn't collapse. Under my leadership, it stabilized. Not fast, not easily, but it did. We streamlined operations, cut dead weight. I hired a real CFO, shifted to automation where I could. I treated it like what it always should have been, a business, not a family therapy project. Jake kept his title, mostly because it meant nothing now. Annie barely showed up. Dad stayed quiet in meetings, let me lead. No more side comments, no more jabs. Over time, they adjusted, maybe even respected me. Quietly. They didn't say it out loud, not really. But I saw it. Fewer arguments, more listening. But by then, I didn't need their applause. I had my own projects, my own clients, my name on leases, my face on campaigns. I built something real, not out of obligation, out of purpose. I stopped waiting for validation. And that made all the difference. One afternoon, I was clearing emails before a meeting when I saw a text from Dad. No long message, no backstory, just, I'm proud of you. I stared at it for a minute, not crying, not smiling, just still. That was enough. Not because it changed anything, but because it didn't have to. Later that night, I stood alone in my office again. Same window, same view. But the weight on my chest was gone. For the first time in my life, I wasn't holding everything together out of fear. I was standing in it, owning it. No begging to be seen, no chasing gratitude, just me, at peace. And finally, free.